I am Reed Price, and I'm your host today for Something to Talk About here at the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. And today, Vince DeCarolis of the Rotary is here. And I hope I pronounced your last name correctly, Vince.
Vinny D is good.
Vinny D.
That's good.
So thank you for coming. I wanted to ask you to share with us a little bit about how the Rotary has responded to the crazy year that it has been. I know that we didn't get our favorite fundraiser, the Rotary auction this year. At least we didn't get it in its traditional form, though we did do an online version. So I'd like to hear a little bit about that. And I also know that Rotarians, as we could expect, have been very active in helping folks in the wake of COVID-19. So I just thought we'd check in with you, and I thank you for offering to spend a little time with us. And I guess that not only are you the communications director for the Bainbridge Rotary, but you are the president-elect. Is that correct?
No, well, yes and no. The next president is Tom McCloskey. I don't know if you know Tom. And he's the next president after Marina, who's the current president. And then I'm in line after Tom. So that's the Rotary kind of sets that ahead of time for whatever, right?
Okay, well that makes sure that everybody's in line, and if there's
make sure everybody's in line, and yeah,
that's right. Stay in line.
Stay in line.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? How the year has been? I'm guessing the biggest disruption was the auction.
Yeah, the biggest disruption was the auction, but the club itself. It's important to remember that the club itself is really, and the people in the club are really dedicated to helping the community, and so the involvement and the response of Rotarians has been strong, especially in this time, right? So, and the projects are pretty continuous for the club. I mean, just this month we did things. Well, 2 days ago we were at your facility, right?
Yes.
2 days ago, we were at your facility, and we were packing lunches, school lunches, for kids, because the school lunch program ends during the holiday period, and the kids still need to eat lunches, and those kids that can't afford it. So I think we packed 300 lunches the other day at your in your conference
in Huney Hall. Huney, for Judd Huney, who,
thanks for letting us use it.
Well, it's it's because of you that we have Huney Hall. So there you go.
Oh, so and then these are just things this month. So the club really tries to stay involved. I mean, we did we have a fund that we set aside, and it's a COVID community response fund, and it's led by a committee, and the committee is led by Tom Lindsley. I don't know if you know Tom. You know Tom.
Yep.
And so when we look at things that we can really help the community the most with the funds that we still have, the funds we have we raised from our online auction, and the funds we have left from the previous auction, right? So what we did this month, which is of note, is we helped local businesses, right? We gave $15,000 very quickly for the creation of the Bainbridge Island General Store.
Yes, we actually last Friday, I believe, got a little preview or review or whatever of that online enterprise. Karen led that discussion.
Yeah, that's good that you had that discussion last week, and that we gave that way to give it quickly, because we gave it to the Downtown Association and the Chamber of Commerce, who did not have the funds right now to get that thing up and running quickly before Christmas, and the city was unable to act quickly enough. Which happens, as you know.
Right.
So we had to give the funds, and we did, and I got up, and it's running. And you had a presentation last week, so that's a
great thing, yeah. And is that part of that special COVID?
That's part of the special COVID fund that we have, and people or organizations send us requests we review them and we give the money as we think that fits the need the most and fits within our budget availability, right? But we do other things this month. Just this month, we had a Toys for Tots campaign over at the Edward Jones office by Christy Givens. That's her office there, right off at Winslow and Erickson. And that just ended last week as well, right? And we I don't know, a truckload. I don't know what would you say? How much? A truckload? It was a lot of toys that we raised. So those are just some of the things that we're doing, both in trying to give to help the community just this month. And so you follow the last month in November, for instance, we had a food drive at both TNC and Safeway, and we actually raised 8 tons of food, which was quite a bit.
Wow! Yeah,
for Helpline House, and people in the community were really generous to us, right? And that food lasted. Helpline House was what they told us through the end of the year. We gave it to them in November. So what we're trying to do, besides just give money to organizations that need it with our COVID response fund, is we try to get projects that we can do to help, right? Such as that. And a couple of things besides the school lunches, besides the Toys for Tots, besides the Bainbridge Island General Store, we do different things. So we put together book bags for kindergarten age kids, right? And that we did in November also.
So this is sort of a special project related to COVID because kids are stuck at home, or
stuck at home. Normally we would have a reading program where our members and volunteers go out and read at the schools to those age kids to help them with their reading. And it's really a great program. I mean, the feeling you get out of that program is unbelievable. We have a lot of volunteers that help, but none this year, right? Obviously, because of COVID. So we had to do something. So we put together all these book bags with appropriate reading stuff for the kids. There's a lot of other things that we've done and we will continue to do for the COVID. For instance, we have the fund, as we mentioned. We gave $10,000 to Homes of Compassion, and that is an organization that sets up housing for homeless people that can qualify. Qualify meaning that they're not addicted to drugs or alcohol, and it might be women with children. They're living alone. It might be people in need, some older people in need, and these houses are established within this community and also in Poulsbo. And so we gave $10,000 for that because we saw. Our committee saw a need for that during this crisis, and then
that's an organization that I had no knowledge of until this moment. I know that we do have some folks who are working on trying to help with housing, but that's sounds like a very interesting organization.
Check that online, Reed. They're
Homes of Compassion. Yeah,
they're interesting. Yeah, they basically have. How nice, pretty nice houses in nice areas where they have, let's say, 4 or 5 bedrooms, and they give each bedroom, right, in a community environment to those people who are homeless, right, and they have people to monitor it, of course, right, throughout in their organization that make sure things are okay and working okay, and the communal kitchens are working okay, and so forth. So it's kind of a neat organization. Kind couple of other things. You talked about our auction, and we usually raise well over $600,000 for the auction, which we give back to the community. And part of our funds, always, because of the Rotary Charter and our long, rich history of it, is World Community Service as well. And so we continue through the COVID our work with other Rotary clubs throughout the world, in about 4 different countries, right, to help people that are really in need. Guatemala would be one example. Food drives in Guatemala. We continue work in Uganda. We continue work in a few other countries. That's always been a part of the Rotary, that a lot of people don't see, right? People aren't aware of it. But that becomes even more critical now in this time of COVID, when some people are really having a difficult time. Right? We started out. This will give you an idea. We started out in April giving $50,000 to the Bainbridge Community Foundation for their COVID emergency fund. And so we sit on that board, and members of the Rotary sit on that board and decide where those funds go as well. Right. So that helps.
Yeah, and that's been a lifeline for a lot of nonprofits that are
right,
doing, especially the kinds of things that you're talking about, like emergency food and shelter,
right,
and that kind of thing. And and I know the Rotary. There are Rotarians all over the region. I know this Rotary Club has been particularly successful in fundraising and sharing that fundraising with nonprofits, as you say, both locally and internationally. You also have a number of programs yourselves. Are you continuing to meet as a club right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We try really hard to have to continue the fellowship, and I think that's in large part due to the president, Marina Kofer Wildsmith, and Marina, right? So, and we have our virtual meetings, and we have every week except for holidays, which we don't meet, of course. But we always have our speakers, and the speakers are usually from academia, right? From business, from local business, or in the public sector. So, and the speakers are always very good. And then to enliven it, we try to do some of the things that you do, right? To enliven virtual meetings, we have topics that people talk about. We breakout rooms, people have topics, and they'll talk about converting a van, or what's their favorite holiday tradition, or another thing that we have that's a little bit different. We try to do things that keep things going. We have a cooking class. We had one, and we're having another one because it went so well. It was Indian cuisine. By a Rotarian, Indian, of course, Indian cuisine. And we did like a pumpkin carving contest. We did
great.
One thing we did, which also helped local businesses, which was also kind of fun, was a Secret Santa, right? Where we went out and you would go to any of the local stores and bought a $25 gift certificate, right? And then you just gave it to another Rotarian, right? That was drawn by lot.
Right.
Drawn by lot. So we
encouraging local business and getting
and having fun with the membership. So you're right. We try to keep engaged, keep as many members engaged as possible, right? Through our virtual meetings every week, right? And our speakers, and trying to keep the energy flowing. At the same time, really keeping our dedication to helping the community. And, as you can see by some of the things I've said, there are so many Rotarians that individually get out there and say, well, let's do this, let's do that, let's have this food drive, let's pack these lunches, let's put these book bags together, let's do whatever we can to help the community. So
yeah. And you've had, I mean, that's definitely not a COVID specific thing. You have a series of grant programs, both large and small, that have gone on for years. Are those expected to continue into 2021, or?
Well, that's going to be hard to say. Now, we did give this year, we gave $95,000 to our community, our normal community grants. I know you have been the recipient of community grants, right?
The Senior Community Center has indeed. In fact, our bus got an upgrade, which we wish we were able to drive around on it.
Again, drive around. And so,
not right now, but the day will come.
Right. We normally give $150,000, all right? But this year we only gave 95 because we're holding back. And the reason we're holding back, Reed, is pretty obvious. We just don't know. We don't know what kind of auction we'll have yet. It's just too hard to say. Obviously, everybody wants us to come back and have our regular auction, which is it's a legacy on the island. It's a tradition. It's probably the best community event on the island. But we just don't know, and it's not necessarily just one reason. It's not just to say that you can't get 6,000 people together, right, or 5,000, which we normally have, right? You can't get that many people together. That's of course a major consideration. But even if you were able to, we don't know how the school district is doing with the availability of the school that we have the auction at. So that is still up and we just don't know.
Right.
We will definitely have another online auction. Either way, and that will be in the summer time frame sometime, right? We wish we could continue. We will continue, even if not this year, the following year. So I hope that answers or doesn't answer that question for you.
Well, we all are recognizing that. I was checking with the Cascade Bicycle Club because we've been a participant in the Chili Hilly race, and that's definitely not happening in February.
That's definitely happening then.
And I'm guessing that now that you did okay. I mean, you did raise more than $100,000 on the online auction, right?
We raised $112,000 on online auction, yeah, and that was our first go around. And I'm sure if we, improve, you can always improve, right? That will raise more on the next one. But
it's not quite the same.
It's not the same. Reed, I like seeing you, buddy, right?
Right.
I'm going to tell you, it's nice to see you online here, but it was a lot better to see you the other day in person.
That's right.
And you missed that. I want to see you in person. I can say, hey, even if you're standing over there, I can yell at you. Right, and I can see.
Come over here and look at this thing.
Yeah, come over and look at this thing, which we did the other day. Right? Hey, Reed, come over and look at this. All right. So, but it's really hard to do, and I couldn't even stay and it's hard. I mean, I couldn't even stay and help pack those lunches, right? Because there's only so many people that could be in the room.
That's right. I was there keeping track.
You're there keeping track, Vince. You got to leave now because you can only have 6 people in the room, right? So it's like it was hard,
right? And so that is a challenge, but it is good. I'm very happy to hear that the Rotary is continuing to meet and do as many things as you can. You have a pretty active group. Do you have a number of people on Bainbridge you can share with me that are roughly active Rotarians?
Well, there's about 125 members as of today, right? And there's a number of people live off island that belong to the club, but a large majority are really are active or want to be active. Okay, we did a thing just in the last couple of weeks. holiday yard signs, right? And it says, we're still here we're still here to help the community, right? And that's after you take your Biden-Harris sign off, you put that sign up, right?
There you go. Yes. No, I've seen it in my community. And in fact, that makes me think of something else that the Rotary has done, which is a great thing, which is you've been a sort of a backbone, or at least some of your members have been a backbone to the Map Your Community effort.
Yes, they have.
Which is a plan working with the city to get a sense of who your neighbors are, so that in the event of an emergency or a crisis, or even in times like this, you kind of know who else lives near you and whether they might have needs. And the Rotarians in neighborhoods have stepped up and been, what do you call them? Neighborhood captains?
Yes, but also the effort over the city is led by a Rotarian, Ann Lesage, and she's in charge of emergency preparedness for the city too.
Yes, she is. She's a good partner of ours here at
yes, and so Ann and that flows over to the Rotary as well. But there's so many things that I'll miss. I won't be able to tell you all of them. For instance, we still have a strong involvement with our youth. All right, high school. We're still going to have our scholarships. We set money aside for our scholarships for 2021. Tom McCloskey, Proctor Schenk. I don't know if you know Proctor, Carolyn Clark. Those people are very involved with, in combination with BYS.
Bainbridge Youth Services.
Youth Services, in trying to develop mentoring programs for high school students. And another person involved in that is Ron Blacker. They're in various stages of actual development or working on them, right? So that continues as well as the emergency preparedness. So, and there are other, I'm sure there's other committees that I'm leaving off but I've tried to hit them all for you.
Thank you. If there is anybody who has a comment or question about the Rotary, you can either just open up your microphone or type something in the chat. We'd be happy to open the discussion up a little bit if there is interest. If I were to go on your website, are there parts of the website that you might recommend that I look at, Vince, to find out about things the Rotary is doing, or ways that I might be involved if I wanted to become a Rotarian?
Sure. There's you can look at the website, and there is a button right on the homepage that says, join the Rotary, and you can click on that and it'll walk you through it. There's also, right on the homepage, if you scroll down the homepage, there's news about what we do, right? Or what we have done in the community. And there's also buttons that talks about some of our key things, our community grants program, our community grants program. And there you go. Talks about our meetings, which we don't have any, of course. We have our newsletter, which you can check on. It talks about our news, so get an idea. Now you can get involved and attend a meeting or join Rotary right there.
Well, that's all fascinating and good information. I'm so grateful for all the work that Rotary does in our community. Thank you very much for outlining that. Is there anything else you want to make sure that we have in mind?
Reed, I'm thankful for what you do in our community. It's really very important, and it's fun too, and you keep it that way. So that says a lot to me.
All right. Well,
one comment I wanted to make is that what the Rotary does for international communities too. I've always been impressed with the water. I know the Bainbridge has gone overseas and have worked on water systems for people in other countries, and I so appreciate that also. So,
thanks.
Are you continuing, Vince?
Yeah, the work is continuing in Uganda, although obviously it's on hold for now, but it will continue. That's where the water project is. There's also food stove cooking projects in Nepal and Guatemala, and again on hold because of COVID, but will continue. There are food distribution projects though, which are continuing now in the different countries, especially Guatemala. Though what the Rotary does is we don't do it ourselves. We always partner with another organization or club, right? And also an organization or club in that country. So there's always a partnership framework for the international projects.
Yes, such a wonderful programs, and I really appreciate the Rotary and the Bainbridge Rotary very much. Very impressed. Thank you.
And thank you for dropping by today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Very, very entertaining. Very nice. I appreciate your good work.
Thanks, guys.